I'm going to talk through one or two items that I've bought recently. I was going to say this was my eBay haul, but basically all the items I've got are buy it now items, and therefore it's just like online shopping, and eBay happens to be the mode I've used. The theme behind all of these items, the common theme, or the thing that prompted me, was I've got a rail bus for a garden railway, which is battery operated with an on-off switch and a forward-reverse switch, and it was intended to have some sort of speed control. Any of you who have seen one of my earlier videos may have seen me just testing it, where I am actually chasing down the garden to try and either reverse the switch, or I would have to do that if I was going to operate the speed control there. So I was prompted to go and look for some things on eBay. So the first thing was actually from a UK seller, and that arrived first, and it arrived before. It's around about Easter now, and I've been away for Easter, so I've not been doing much. And it's a Spectrum receiver. It's the AR6200 or 6200. Way over spec'd for what I need to do, which is just control a motor, single output, forward, reverse on a motor. When I say way over spec'd, it's got a head on it with an antenna. If you are flying model gliders, this is the sort of thing I would put in my model glider. You've got plenty of channels on there, 6 channels, but also these are running off the newer digital system. I think it's 2.5 megahertz, is it megahertz or gigahertz? And the antennas are directional, and so if you're putting it in a glider, you would orientate one this way and orientate one that way, so when the glider turns upside down or sideways, you don't lose signal power. But for a train running around the garden, it doesn't matter if you lost control a moment, it's not going to go falling out of the sky. So there is a smaller, cheaper version of this receiver for remote control, which has fewer channels and doesn't have that on it. But I just bought the more complex one. Maybe I'll do some swapping around of receivers that are in gliders. All the other things have come from either China or Hong Kong. I thought I needed a servo tester. This will do digital as well as analog servos. And the idea is that you can just plug a servo into here, plug a power source into it, a receiver, and you can adjust this and see what the servo is doing. And similarly, presumably, you can use this to control a speed control, not the servo, a speed controller. Now what else? Okay, so the rail bus had this very simple speed control circuit, and what I found was a speed control circuit similar to the rail bus, manual control. It's got a controller, knob, grub screw, power in, DC power in, motor out, so it's for controlling DC motors. And so if you've got any sort of rail bus or any sort of electrically powered device, you've got a means of powering it up. I've salvaged motors from printers. This is quite a meaty looking one, and that should certainly be powerful enough to control the speed to that one as a manual speed control. The other thing that I've used when doing some of the construction was a small multi-tool, 12-volt multi-tool. I didn't pay extra to get the speed control circuit for the 12-volt multi-tool, and this, I'll try it out later, it's just straight, it arrived while I was away at Easter, hopefully would also provide me, if I don't use it on the layout, on the garden layout, as a speed control for my multi-tool, and it will be useful even to be used as that. It needs to be put into a small box, and I've got those funny small slide box. I think it'll fit into a box designed for business cards. But Macklin do sell boxes, and other people sell boxes that would for that. And I don't think it would need to worry about the heat too much. If you're really controlling a more powerful motor, you might have to be concerned about the heat from those. So certainly a better speed control circuit than the one that is fitted to the rail bus as standard. It's down there. Hopefully that would work better if I didn't want to use radio remote control. What's the other thing? The other thing is in this packet. Again, either Hong Kong or China, came direct from there. Took a little while. Free postage. And this is what's called a motor speed controller. So what we've got here, we've got a block with heatsink on it, a switch to switch it on and off, a servo type plug that will plug into a receiver. There's a receiver that will plug into there. A plug to connect to a battery. Well, there's a battery. Oh, and look, it's a standard plug. So it's a standard Tamiya plug. And there is the plug that I actually chopped off the battery I've been using on there. So I could reinsert the plug on the battery. And then two bullet type connectors to go to the motor. Clearly, I think this is advertised as, I don't know, 300 amps, 250 amps. You can see from the thickness of the wires it's intended to take some serious power. You'll see from the thickness of the wires on this motor and the thickness of the wires used on most of the motors on garden railway layouts that you don't need anywhere near like the power that this provides. And we'll find out whether it works or not later. But if it does, it certainly is compact and small enough and would be useful for that. I think the other thing it provides is a battery eliminator circuit, so that this connector here goes into the appropriate plug on here and provides the power for your receiver. So you don't need a separate battery, you only need the one battery to power the motor, and you don't need a receiver battery in addition to that one. So that's with motor speed control. Alternatively, you'd have a receiver battery and just servos. These things aren't going to go to waste, at least I hope not. I will at some point show you a steam loco which has got some servos on it but no receiver, and so the receiver with an appropriate receiver battery would allow me to add remote control to a steam outline locomotive. And when I get around to attaching them, I'll say a little bit more about them, but that's it. I will hopefully in comments post the prices. It's up to you to look online to see the prices. Whatever they are, it's generally, this was from the UK and that was £22 for the receiver. The last receiver of these that I bought to put into a glider was £50. The motor speed control circuit, that 250 amp, 300 amp, £7 including postage from China. It's for nothing really. This control circuit, again, I don't know if I paid £10 for it, but a useful 12 volt controller. You know, you might even be able to use it as an analog controller for a model railway layout. Maybe even a garden railway layout, because the power out of that should be sufficient. I will need to check the voltage because some people say that for garden railways, this is a garden railway layout where the power goes through the track. And when I do my track line, my intention is to make it so that it will also be usable. Look at the thickness of the solder under there. So it's designed to provide some power, that it should be usable, because friends will have locos, and I actually have one which at the moment takes the power through the track feed. So radio for controlling a layout or even a garden railway layout. Servo tester, well, that's just a piece of test equipment, but the advantage to me is it means I don't have to use the transmitter and receiver to do some control. I can start using the control with just this little thing, and again, I don't think I paid £10 for that one. It's not needed to make any of the things work, but I think it's going to be very useful just for testing things. So there we go. That's my post-Easter chat. I hope it was of some interest.